Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. What a crazy week this has been. Oh my goodness. At work,
Oh,
the shows. Oh,
oh my God. I mean, Young and the Restless actually has been great this week. And
I so agree.
and
Thanks
even
for waiting for me.
I didn't hear you say that again.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I know usually because it's a Friday night, so I know it's a work day, so I know sometimes it can get kind of hectic and stuff happens. So,
Yes, ma'am, it does.
all right. So, welcome you guys to CBS Hope Dish Recap, where Trish and I recap both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. And this is for the week of April 4th through April 8th. And like we started off, it's been a very, very interesting, surprising week with both of these soaps. So normally what we do, we will recap the storylines from The Young and the Restless first. And then in the second half of the show, we recap The Bold and the Beautiful. And then we have a segment at the end that's called Flip the Script, which if there is a particular scene or storyline that we wish we could change, this is where we flip the script. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this recap. So normally what I do, I give a summary first, and then we'll break down what actually happened this week and give our thoughts. So for the Young and the Restless for the week of April 4th, Ashland confronted Billy when he tried to warn Victoria. Phyllis learned Diane was alive. Kyle agreed to return to Genoa City with Harrison. Victoria called a family meeting to share her plan, and Ashlyn wasn't happy that Adam would remain temporary CEO. So, Trish, with the Young and the Restless, we only had two storylines. We really didn't get any Devon and Amanda this week, or not too much of Abby either.
No,
Nope, nope, nope. So, how do you want to take the Jack storyline first, or you want to take the Newmans?
let's take Jack first. Like they're both explosive stories, but let's go with Jack first.
Okay, so what do you think about everything, especially in regards to, and I think we kind of touched on this just a little bit last week about Jack's hesitancy at first of letting Diane, you know, try to get to know Kyle at this later time in his life.
Honestly, I was thinking about that, and I'm so glad that Phyllis gave her advice to Jack because she's absolutely right this time. He needs to let Kyle know that Diane's alive because if he doesn't do it and Diane goes straight to Kyle and Kyle finds out that Jack knew and didn't let him know, he's going to feel so betrayed by the person he trusted the most.
Absolutely. And you know what? Honestly, Trish, even if, Phyllis didn't think of this bright idea, I still think this is something that he's an adult. And I still think that this would have been something for him to be aware of, whether she was going to call him or whether Phyllis came up with this information or not. Because, I mean, I don't know. It seems like a running trend because obviously we'll talk about the whole situation on the Bold and the Beautiful side too. But um, I absolutely, for him to say, no, you would never come anywhere near my child and blah, blah, blah. And Diane hit him with the coup de grace.
Didn't she? My
She's,
mouth dropped to the ground when she said that.
oh, I mean, there's nothing else to be said. Once she said that, she was like, huh. So how did that work out for you when that happened with chemo?
And I can honestly, knowing Diane's character from the past, I can honestly see her rehearsing these types of conversations in her hotel when she used to talk to herself.
Oh
I
my
can
gosh.
honestly see her doing that and thinking, like wringing her little hands, thinking that she can't wait to throw that in his face because she knows he's going to bring it up.
Of course. And I mean, honestly, even as twisted as she may be right now, she's right. I mean,
He is.
you can't. There's no question in there. And I didn't like how um what did Phyllis say to her? Oh, you using your son as emotional blackmail. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. But but Diane really hit him where it hurts when she said, okay, so what you're trying to get me to do with Kyle and what you're doing with Kyle, that didn't work out so well with your other son. So I think you need to take notice of that, buddy.
Yeah, she hit him where it hurt for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like you said your mouth dropped open. I was like, okay. There's nothing he can do with that one.
she, no, yeah, she took that right off the tee and it went out of the park.
Yeah, it was. It was. Um, do you think it's right for now, outside of what we say with Jack, or of course he eventually changed his mind. But do you think she have any rights to ask for that just because she's his mother, or with everything that she orchestrated with her death, she doesn't deserve to see him? What do you think?
You know, I don't so much as I know if I would agree that she deserves to,
Mhm.
but I think Kyle deserves to know.
Okay, gotcha.
So I think it's not really, it doesn't become about her anymore. I think at this point now it's about Kyle and his right to know the truth
Mhm.
and to then be able to determine at what level, if any, he wants her involved in his life and his family's life going
Right.
forward.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. I totally agree. Now, what do you think about the interaction between Allie and Diane? Because, of course, Jack told Diane to stay away from Allie, but Allie came and seeked her out and actually gave her a little bit of advice. So, what do you think about Allie and her interaction with Diane?
I got to tell you, whenever Diane opened the door and it was Allie, there was like just that momentary hesitation of, is she in on this like Ashley
Right,
May? But
right.
then when they started talking, it was like, oh, okay, okay. So she's trying to feel out, get some information, and try to figure out this bizarre story that she just witnessed unfold.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting because she was after hearing how she faked her death and all of this. I was not expecting Allie to come back over there. I mean, seriously, she was so squeamish about Jack, but you feel more comfortable having a conversation with Diane.
Right.
That was kind of weird. So I could see where you're coming from when you were thinking like what Ashley was saying, like, what is this girl up to? Or is she a part of this whole scheme? But like you say, it was a fact finding mission for her.
Yeah, I think she just wants to try to get a little bit more information if she can. And of course, we saw in the previews where, she's going to tell Jack something next week,
Hmm.
but we don't know what it is. But it's probably going to be, I met with Diane.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be happy about that one.
Right. Why would you do that? And yeah, what's happening? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it also interesting that she used Diane as a way to get information, and her term that she said was, "I want an outsider's view of the Abbott family," and I'm like, you're asking the wrong outsider.
That's not just an outsider. I mean, she was literally, she was persona non grata, as we talked about last week. And so to get a perspective of someone that tried to take people down in the family, that's not really a good perspective to get.
Exactly.
She wound up saying really good things about the Abbott family.
I was shocked because I was like, "Oh, here we go. This is her opportunity to kind of, you know, um, cloud her mind with what the Abbotts really was and or what she thought they were." But she actually did good by them. I was shocked by that.
Same. Me too.
But I did like the interaction where she kind of wanted to know about Kyle because technically Kyle is her uncle. So, she wanted to know the details about his childhood. And then, of course, they gave the Young and the Restless this open door to show all these clips from the past.
Right, that's right. And isn't it, you know, you gotta hand it to them that they actually have the same actors and
Right.
they're able to bring them back, and that continuity is just so fluid with Young and the Restless. I love whenever they're able to go back and it's the same people.
Right. Right. Because I think the previous Dina, which was I forgot her name, but she was on another soap. Um, I guess at the time, this young lady, I forgot her name, um, wasn't available. So of course they had the other Diane to come in, but they brought the original one back this time. So that was good to see. Kind of even when they brought Dina back for that short period of time, it was nice to have Dina back at that point too.
It was. Yeah, that was such a heart-wrenching storyline at the end.
I know. And Marla really played that to the hilt. I was like, oh my goodness. She's a good
Such a great
actress.
actress.
Yes,
Oh,
she
yes.
is.
Just an icon.
Yep.
Just absolute icon.
Yeah. But do you think that obviously that brings Diane and both um Allie back to Genoa City? So
Oh, yes, absolutely. They're going to go back to Genoa City because Kyle's going to be there,
right,
and we know that she wants to see him. So if she wants to see him, she's probably going to have to go there. I mean, are they going to go back to LA and on the jet with him and Jack, or would she come there? I think she would go there just because there'd be a lot more drama with additional habits.
right. Yeah, because Ashley's back. So um it's going to be interesting. Now, I'm wondering, are they going to create a triangle between Phyllis and Diane again?
You know, I hope it's not a romantic one where she actually does get involved with Jack because to me that would be so grotesque and such an abomination at this point.
Hmm.
But I can see there being that complete and total animosity and mistrust where they are constantly sniping at one another when they're in the same room.
Right, right.
But I hope there's no romance between Diane and Jack because that just.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this storyline. What if they, I mean, and here's the other thing, there's still Allie's mom out there.
That's right. We don't even know who she is or was she's a what, in New York or something like that?
Yeah, so it's possible that they might sneak somebody in that is going to be a shocker. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Which would be great, 'cause, I mean, I would
It
be here
would, I
for it.
know. It's always fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think about Allie? Do you think she's gathering information that she might try to do what Ashley says and get a job at Jabot?
I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that she is actually a little bit like Lola, where she's a really good person and she's just looking for, life answers and things like that. And she, it just happens to have this, it's in the DNA. She's going to have the chemistry in her blood. So
Mhm.
winds up getting offered a job, which I'm sure she will. I hope that maybe she and Ashley can get close somehow,
Mhm.
especially if they don't bring back. Um, oh no, I'm sorry. Somehow I got Summer and Abby mixed up.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how that just happened. I just had a brain fart. But yes, I want them to. I would like to see them have some kind of a close bond in the family. I
Okay.
really like it when the Abbots are close. I like their family meals around the table. I always enjoy those scenes. It's always great when they're getting along.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I mean, with 2 new characters, it's gonna definitely be more moving parts. You know what I mean? So they might, of course, Diane is going to be Diane, and then they might give us a curveball with Allie with something, and then bring the mom in if possible. So that's gonna. I'm liking what they're doing because for a while, Peter Bergman hasn't really had any good solid storylines. The last storyline that he had was the one where Dina was in town,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, he did have a little short stint with Sally Spectra, but I don't think too many people were really interested in that storyline, which
I
is
agree.
which is why she's a lot better with Adam. But
Yes, and the chemistry there is so great.
exactly. So, once they moved Sally out the way and Jack was pretty much by himself, they really didn't have much. We would see him pop in and pop out, and for a while he was off screen for at least about a month or so last fall. So it's nice to
Yeah,
actually see him have something, a storyline that could be really a lot of plot twists to
definitely, definitely. I love Jack. I've
it.
always loved Jack. Even when Terry Lester played him as well. The character of Jack is just, it's like peeling the layers of an onion back.
Yes, it is.
It's going to make you cry a little bit.
And she kinda, you know what, besides that other moment about, her saying, "Your actions and how did that work for chemo situation," she also kinda got him a little bit when she was talking about how she's changed, which I really don't think so. But
Right?
she said, "Well, you've changed too, Jack. I mean, seriously, you used to try to do a lot of bad things to people back in the day, and hey, you've changed, so why couldn't I?" I was like, this girl isn't a Sheila Carter. She's a little bit more of a thinker. She's
Yeah, she
wittier.
definitely is. She definitely is.
Sheila is all reactions, right? Whereas
Sheila is a hot mess of reactive behavior. Yes.
exactly. Whereas it seems that Diane is a little bit more smoother, slyer. She's still sneaky and tricky, but she's witty. She's like she'll know what to say to kind of get you to shut up.
She she does it. She will.
And I mean so much so that Phyllis and Jack was running up out of there at some point, and she was just looking at them like, "Yeah, see, I got you, check and mate."
Yes, check and mate. You're exactly right. And she does it with that evil smile on her face, whereas Sheila gets that really hateful, mean, nasty look on her face.
Yeah, yeah, Sheila is diabolical.
Yes.
But we got a lot to talk about that whole. Ooh, God, they
Me
shocked me.
too.
I did not expect what was going to happen on a bold this week, but okay. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that really happened except the fact that, Kyle is coming back with Harrison and that Summer isn't. So
Right.
that answers the question that we had last week, whether or not Hunter King is available. And I guess I'm assuming not. So unfortunately, we'll just have Kyle, but that'll be cool. It'll be nice to see Michael Mueller back. So
It will.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
I like
forward to that. Did we have anything else on that storyline?
no, that pretty much summed up the Jack Abbott storyline.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think it did.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. So there was this small, well, no, because it kind of ties into this next storyline, which is pretty huge this week,
It
which
is. It's
is
huge, isn't it?
this whole thing with Ashland Locke and the Newmans. So he had a conversation with Billy, um, where when he tried to warn Victoria in the office, and I'm like, Billy, I mean, I understand. Okay, so I know that is his children's mom, right? But Victoria tried her best to use in the beginning Ashland to one up Billy with his relationship. Um I mean, they both tried to destroy Billy in the process. This whole thing with gains and things like that, and he still finds it. And I don't know, do you think it's more about the kids, or this man really has a deep soul tie with Victoria?
I think it's probably a little bit of both
Okay.
because they seem to me. I mean, how many times have they been married now?
Three maybe or
I
two?
think so, three
Three.
wedding
Mhm.
minimum.
Mhm.
and they do have children together, which is that lifelong bond.
Right.
And she continues to go back to him to confide in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think that there's a little something there.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that when they are good together, that he makes her more fun and she makes him more mature.
Mm-hmm.
But when they stray away from each other, she's just looks at him with haughty derision, and he looks at her like, "What? You don't love me whenever I'm screwing everything up?" You know, so
I know, right?
it's one extreme to the other with them, and that's one of the reasons why it is fun to watch them play off each other and be together in the show. But as we talked about before, when we thought and hoped Ashland was going to be a good guy, he was her true equal.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think there's a little bit of both.
I honestly, okay, so I'm going to tie the opposite end of the week, which was today's episode, Friday, because he was doing a podcast, meaning Billy, and he was putting content together in the middle of the night for the podcast, and when I was listening to him, I knew automatically he was talking about the Newmans. But then he said something interesting saying about the word love and how much he loves her. And of course, that's when Lily walked in, and I'm like, okay, yeah, yikes. So there's a part of this whole thing that, I mean, like Lily said, I understand you have a connection with your kids and all, but she don't need you to protect her. I mean, honestly, and I would think with any couple, plus, she got her family, and pretty much most of the family don't want to be bothered with him except for Nick when he wanted to use him to talk to Victoria.
Right.
But like if I was Billy, I'd be like, okay, I just need to call the school because they're boarding school, I think. Call the school, find out the kids are good, if they know anything, and leave it at that. Because chasing behind trying to protect Victoria is probably going to be the downfall of his relationship with Lily.
Right. You can almost see the writing on the wall, especially now that the announcement came out that Kane's coming back.
Is it? Oh no. Are you serious? Yeah. I missed that.
Let me see if I can pull it up right quick.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad you brought that information to the live. I did not know that. So the original Kane?
It looks like it. I'm pulling it up right quick to see. When I saw that on, I think it was the Young and the Restless main one. Let's see here.
How did I miss that? I usually keep up with that stuff, but that's okay.
Well, let me see where I saw. Maybe it's a rumor. Hold on. Now I brought it up and I can't find it.
Oh my gosh. So allegedly he's supposed to be coming. Okay.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. All right. But I hope it's true, because that would be interesting. Because then would they put Billy back with Victoria then? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Let me see. I'm looking. What is his name?
Daniel Goddard.
Right.
And let's see. A trusted source says Daniel Goddard might return.
No, this was 6 days ago.
And I saw something posted on Facebook today. And so I am telling your listeners about a rumor. I apologize, Letitia.
Okay, that's why. Okay, that's cool. Allegedly, we'll just say that.
I do like that word. Thank you.
Oh yeah. You know what? Listen, I also, of course, on YouTube, because I have other channels. I always, if there's something pop up, I say allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Okay. Well, we'll have to just wait and see, I guess.
Yes.
Which is fine with me. But if he is coming back, I would be so excited about that.
It'll sure bring it another new dynamic.
I know, right? I'm wondering, and Jordy is leaving like we were talking about last week. Because that's another part that we should also talk about that's in this week as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes. I mean, how are they even going to have him exit?
that's what
Like,
I'm
I can't.
wondering. Because remember, he's supposed to be taking Connor to see the Blackhawks
Right,
on this little hockey trip that what's her name? Chelsea bought tickets for that she couldn't go and that he couldn't go. That meaning
right.
Adam. So are they going I hope it's nothing tragic.
I know it. Oh, that kind of stuff is always heart wrenching because it brings stuff too close to home.
Yeah, I mean, have them just leave the force and say, "Hey, my family's in Miami. I really miss them," or, "My mom needs me right now. It's really getting, whatever." And
Right,
have him leave instead of because I'm wondering where they're going with this hockey trip.
right.
You know.
'Cause there was even with the way she gave him the tickets and everything,
Hmm.
it just looks like there's something underlying there. But it did show, I think it showed a scene for next week with him in it
Hmm.
with Sharon, but maybe it's before he takes off for the trip with Connor.
Yeah, but then that means, hopefully it's not if it's not something tragic that Connor isn't caught up in it either.
Right? I
Oh
never,
my God, that'll
yeah,
be
I don't ever like that when
heartbreaking.
sad stuff happen.
Yeah, that would be heartbreaking, of course, for Chelsea and Adam, but then
So
they will be
good.
feeling regret, like, oh my God, I should have been the one, and we put him off on the way, and we were too busy with work and all this type of stuff. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Oh boy, we'll have to see because I'm like you said, I'm curious on how he's going to exit. So yeah, we had a exit this week that I had no idea was coming, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. I was shocked. I was
Right.
literally shocked.
Me too.
But yeah. So going back to the whole Billy thing, I think he needs to kind of. I understand he's concerned about Victoria. He got kids with her, but she brought this on herself.
She did. Yes, she did. She wouldn't listen to anyone.
Yeah. And then every time when, like we were just saying, when Billy tried to stop her, stop the wedding, she looked at him like he was a problem. So now that she has the problem with her husband, we got to figure that out. And that's what Lily was saying. That's her problem.
Right.
You
You make
know.
the bed.
Yeah, she made that bed. Now she got to clean it up or make it up, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, seriously, in a regular situation, I don't think too many current girlfriends would like their current boyfriend pining over their ex's problems,
Absolutely not.
So it took for Billy to not understand because he looked like when Lily said that, it's like, but you don't understand. No, dude, you don't understand.
That, yeah, that look was priceless, wasn't it?
I know, right? She was like, excuse me, but you need to focus on what's over here.
I am right in front of you.
Yeah.
I am standing right here.
And he need to listen to that because I mean, seriously, you're in a relationship with her and you trying to help and save your ex. No, that's not a good look.
Well, exactly. And I mean, quite frankly, Lily is amazing. So
Yeah,
why are
yeah.
you thinking about someone else?
I mean, and especially since they got a whole bunch of new projects coming up, they got another merger going on of their own with Devon and the two lawyers that's coming over, which
Yep,
is Amanda and her sister. Y'all got so much other stuff to focus on than him worried about the Newmans.
absolutely. And speaking about Amanda, I am looking forward to the sister relationship and seeing how that dynamic comes together.
Yeah, her and Amani. I'm wondering what they're gonna make that into because for a minute I thought there was gonna be a little contention before they kind of merged with Lily's company when they had their own law firm and trying to,
Right.
yeah, I was like, ooh, they starting a little problem there. But then they kind of got away from it real quick. So, all
Yeah,
right.
I'd like to see the two strong women stick together.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I haven't seen Amani in a while, so hopefully it'll bring her back.
I hope so.
Okay, so let's do a deep dive into this whole thing um with Ashland. So for the early part of the week, Victoria kept this whole thing about her playing a secret. So a lot of the Newmans thought that she was still in love with him, and that she was still believing in him, and it was actually the opposite. Um, Also too, Michael is back and he's moving about. I was kind of disappointed though when Ashland finally got to see Michael at the coffee house. I thought he was going to look like he saw a ghost because remember, he didn't know what happened to Michael.
Right.
He didn't even know Michael was in town. So for them to meet up at the coffee house and they just had this mild contentious conversation, I'm like, that's it.
It was a little anticlimactic, wasn't it?
Exactly, because I was thinking that with Michael looking him in the face, and Ashland would have been like shocked because
Yeah.
he
Well, I mean, at least have a mouth go agape. You know,
exactly,
it's not like you can make the blood run out of your face because that's what would happen in real life.
I
But
know.
at the very least, you could have a surprised face.
Because here's the other part of this. Michael knows a lot of things, and with him being back in GC, he could blow Ashland out of the water, and there was nothing there. It was just like, oh, so I guess those charges were trumped up in that jail. And I'm like, that's all y'all gonna talk about?
Right? And how would you know that?
Right.
How would you know they were trumped up?
I was like, man, writers, missed opportunity. You could have had Ashland like shaking in his boots because he knows, of course, that this is all fake, which he's, trying to manufacture information, which we'll get to that in a minute. But Michael could destroy him. And their meeting was just womp womp.
It was womp womp. That's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. Then when you said it, I almost fell out of my chair.
So yeah, I was disappointed in that because I had been looking forward to that moment since Michael got back to town. I'm like, dang, how is it? Because remember, they almost crossed paths at Society.
They
Remember?
did. They just missed each other, and I feel the same way you did. I was very disappointed in the way they brought that story to that part of the story to conclusion, as far as them, seeing each other the first time.
Right. So now, fast forward a whole week or so, and they finally cross paths, and it's just like a conversation.
Right.
So
And I want to see, what's Lauren gonna do when she runs into him?
I know that's going to be now. Let hopefully they don't mess that up
Right.
because I would like to see some fireworks or something.
I love it when Lauren tells people what's what.
Oh yeah, and she probably has a whole lot to say to Ashland Locke. So
I am sure.
I would
Yes.
most definitely be looking forward to seeing that, unless the writers do another want moment.
Exactly.
you know. So anywho, so let's talk about now because I did mention that Victoria has a plan. And she manipulates in a way, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. She manipulates Ashland to go along with the idea that Adam is the one setting him up. And he's sitting up there looking at her like a deer in headlights because he's looking like, what? And then
Can
all
she
of a
really
sudden
be this
he was,
tense?
what'd you say?
Can she really be this tense?
Right, and then he said, and then he flips that whole switch in his head and be like, "Oh yeah, maybe it is Adam. Oh, I'm gonna prove it." Knowing that, she set the bait for him to go set this. Here's the problem that I have with Victoria. If you're going to throw your brother under the bus, before you put the plan in motion, talk to said brother.
Right.
She put the plan in motion first and then let everybody into it.
Nobody had a choice.
Here's what I don't like. I just I don't trust the plan because in a
Mhm.
way it looks like to me that because remember, even without Ashland, Adam has always been competition for her.
Mhm.
So I could see her trying to use this as a way to get rid of both of them,
I was, yep, yep, absolutely.
and I'm like, and see, that's why, and this is probably, I think it was before you came on to the show. My hope for Adam was to not get in bed with the Newmans again, or
Mhm.
at least for a while and do his own thing. But he continues to want approval from these people, and they keep just giving him crap,
Yep, they do.
you know. And so, um, Victor did give him temporary CEO because there's this whole thing about them flying off to Tuscany, and then there's this fake storm, and then they don't go. And of course, that's when they had the whole conversation about Adam could be setting them up.
Mhm.
If I was, I mean, me, if I was Adam, I'll be telling them you can take that and shove it. But
Right. Well, and I mean, you could see the look on his face. Oh, wow, it's me. I'm the one that's going to get thrown under the bus. Okay, going to
yeah, I mean, I was actually shocked. I thought maybe the writers were going to have Adam give them a little bit more pushback because this could, as much as Victoria thinks she has all this under control, she really doesn't.
well, and the last thing Adam said was never underestimate your competition.
Right, I mean, he also think he has a plan on the side as well. The only monkey wrench that I could see in this whole thing, because as you remember toward the end of today's episode, he had some plans and stuff in mind. And Victoria asked him, well, what are those? We're partners. You should share with me. He didn't. So what if he just say, you know what, I'm gonna do Adam like Billy tried to do me. So just say he trump up all this evidence. Don't tell Victoria the plan because remember, her plan only goes as well as how much information she knows that of what Ashley is doing. And if he's not giving her all of the full information, he could go off and say, well, you know what, I'm gonna manufacture a story that he tampered with this, that, and the third, and I'm gonna let Chance come or whoever their media company is now over at Chancellor. I'm gonna let them put it in the media. What do you? I mean, because remember, the original plan is to just play like Adam is the fall guy and then say you're fired, but only in front of the family.
Right.
What if Ashland decides to set this thing in motion and drop it off to the world without the Newmans knowing it?
Yeah, that's true.
So for the Newmans to think that, oh yeah, we got this all under control, everybody got to play their role. It's only as solid if everybody knows everybody's moving parts. If somebody decides to go off kilter, like it looked like Ashland is doing, because he's not telling Victoria what he's thinking, she has no idea what direction he's going to be going in.
No, absolutely not. And whenever he said that, and she said, "Of course," I was like, oh, "Come on, this is the one time where you could have said, absolutely not. We are partners. We are equal partners, and you need to tell me exactly what we're going to do about this."
Well, there might be a caveat. Maybe Victoria is hoping for that because maybe this would be a way to also get rid of her brother. If he does something that she has no control over, she could easily say, well, I didn't know Ashland was going to do that. I'm so sorry.
True, that's true. What is that? Plausible deniability.
Exactly. Yeah, she can play that easy because if he goes rogue, and something happens and Adam does go to jail, goes to this. But see, the only thing is that Michael knows the truth. So would
Yes.
Michael, if would the Newmans say or Victoria say, "Oh, Michael, don't say nothing. I'm sorry, we got to keep the plan as is." I mean, yeah, that's why I was like, when Adam was like, "Sure, I think this is interesting. Yeah, I'll do it." I'm like, "Don't,
Don't do it.
don't do this."
Don't do it. It could be the offing of you.
What did you think about Nicholas? Nicholas is irritating in this episode because he was the one guy who actually was trying to work on his relationship with Adam. And then it sounds like with what he was saying with the family and how he confronted him at the restaurant, it was like, are you guys cool or not? Or are you back to square one?
That's what I thought. Are we back to this again?
I mean, your daughter got a whole kidney.
Right.
I mean, seriously, he not only saved her one time, he saved her three times. The first one,
Yeah.
when she was a little baby with the tornado, when
Yep.
she was in a car accident, and now with the kidney. He
Yep.
also just saved Nick's life because when they went out of town and that tornado happened and he was under all that rubble, he could have just took off.
That's
No.
right.
So I mean, I just think that's why I don't like the fact that Adam has to jump through all these hoops to get their approval, and they keep moving the goalposts.
Oh, yeah, that goalpost is like jello.
I know, right?
Just bouncing all over the place.
Oh my God. And I just like, come on, Adam. You cannot, these people they only are using you when it's to their benefit. If you're thriving and doing your own thing, they're taking you down in the next minute. So they want you to be part of them when they need you. When they don't need you, they want to destroy you.
Yeah, and it's always a fallback of, they always bring up I mean, he did. I mean, it's hard to forget that he did try to blow him up in the Newman Towers.
Yeah.
That's a little difficult to get over.
Are you talking about Adam blowing up his father, you mean? Or?
Yeah, and they were all in the towers together.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I thought we were past that, but I guess we keep going back to it.
See, and that's the problem. And I've had this conversation with people with the word proving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can prove to be whatever, or you can even prove yourself to be an absolute angel. But if the person that you're trying to prove yourself to is not receptive to seeing you any other way, it's meaningless. Now, you can prove it to yourself, right? That, you know what,
Right.
I'm going to prove to myself that I can actually accomplish this. But it's hard to prove something to a group of people who will always see you the same way. Look at the situation like, who is that? That was Chance today and Abby that says, it's amazing how Chelsea and Ray could be so cool when she tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So most people, whereas Adam, he was the victim in this case besides Ray because she tried to set him up, and Ray still has contempt for Adam.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, it's only proof is only accepted when it's receptive by the person who is looking on, and if they don't want to accept it, you can jump through hoops of fire and it's meaningless.
It'll
So
never change. Right, you're right. It won't change a thing.
exactly. And that's the part I hate with Adam because he wants to prove that he's this businessman. He wants to prove that he's a part of the family. He wants to prove to his father that he's just as astute as his sister. And they just don't care. They just uses him.
Yeah, they don't care.
So, but Sally is really, really smart.
I like how they're portraying her right now.
Yeah.
Very happy.
I mean, even the advice that she tends to give Adam and the support that she tends to give Adam, it's almost like, you know how we say Victoria met her match with Ashland? Sally met
Yes.
her match with Adam.
You know what? I absolutely agree. It's just I think it's the perfect matchup.
Yeah. So that's why I was wishing that maybe they could have started off and did their own thing away from the Newmans. They don't have to even be connected with Billy or the Chancellor Industries or whatever. Just do their own thing and build a powerhouse between each other. You know what I'm saying? Give Victoria a little bit of competition away from Newman.
Yeah, I would like that. It would give another dimension.
Yeah, so, but unfortunately, we got what we got. Thanks, writers.
Just I know, well, and after COVID, I'm just glad to have it.
I
Be in
know, right?
crisis.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
what was that, 2020? We went like 6 months without
6 months.
soap.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
My
that was,
attention was not filled.
yeah, I mean, I was looking for some of everything to watch.
Same here. I went through so many shows that I never would have watched had it not been the only thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, what do you? I know I said a lot about Victoria's plan. What do you think? Do you think her plan is good? Do you think it's full of holes? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's definitely full of holes. There's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that could explode with this one, including what you were saying about what if Ashland leaks everything that he creates and then he owns the narrative of the story. Um, but you think about all these offices and everything. Where are the cameras in the offices?
Exactly. Now, remember when he did try to tap into Adam's computer, Adam did get the notification,
Right, right.
that somebody was hacking. Here's the another, I guess, caveat to this whole thing is like we were talking about with Billy. If Billy gets overzealous about trying to solve and fix this thing, the only other person that hates um Adam as much as Ashland Locke does right now is Billy Abbott. So if he happens to get even a whiff of this so-called fake plan, thinking it's real, he would love to bury Adam with this too.
Oh, for sure. But
Excuse me.
I don't think he would trust Ashland
That's true.
as the source.
That's true. But remember, Victoria and the rest of them are going to have to lie to him unless they bring him in on a plan.
That's true.
So if Billy is like, "What is this about Ashland Locke finding that Adam is the one behind this?" Either Victoria and the Newmans are going to have to say, "Look, this is a plan. Keep it under wraps," or they're going to have to lie to him like, "Well, yeah, he is finding something." So we're gonna have to see which direction that's gonna go. I just think it's just not a good idea with what they're doing. They're
I agree.
Yeah, they don't have 100% control of this whole thing. So
No, they don't. They barely have 50%.
yeah, the other 50% is Ashland. I
Right.
mean, so anywho. Let's see. Did we cover everything with that storyline?
I think we did. I mean, there was just so many little nuances about it and so many jaw dropping moments over it all. It was a big week.
It was. It really was. And it kept you on your toes. I was looking, how sometimes you're like, oh, well, it was the same old, same old. You
Uh-huh.
actually look forward to the next episode.
I agree. And you weren't 100% sure what was coming. So you couldn't actually predict the dialogue or anything this
I'm,
week.
yeah, and I mean, even with the Jack and Diane storyline, at first I was like, okay, this is moving kind of slow. And
Mm-hmm.
then as they start getting into stuff, and Diane is back, and I want to see Kyle, and of course, this whole thing with Allie is like, okay, all right, you're getting my interest up, so let's see. So, I'm glad that they have two good storylines because the Chance storyline at first, I was not feeling it. That whole thing drawn out for a year.
Uh-huh.
We
Yeah,
needed a break from that. So,
absolutely agree.
um, I just don't like the fact, and we talked about this last week, that they're rushing him back to work when he has PTSD. But obviously, with Ray leaving, they probably have to speed up the character or something.
Yeah,
So,
that's the only thing that makes sense.
yeah. Okay, well, that was pretty good for the week of April 4th. Let's jump into the second half of this, which is the bold and the beautiful for the week of April 4th through April 8th. So Sheila agonized over the gruesome mistake she made. Steffi's life hung in the balance. Sheila learned that Steffi was alive. Lee said that she, not Sheila, was Finn's mother. And let me see, do I have anything? Okay, and then of course that continued over into today's episode with Liam, and I'm getting real antsy about this whole Liam thing because I'm like, here we go again.
Right. And I, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but whenever they showed the backstory or did the flashbacks with Liam and Steffy,
Mm-hmm.
there's part of me that really loves them together.
I mean, at one point I did, because
Yeah.
I was rooting. I was always Team Steffi for a very long time with Liam, right?
Yep.
But because Liam kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it's just
He
like, okay,
deserved
I'm just so over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when they brought Finn into the picture, I was like,
Oh, I was so excited.
I was excited about that. He's a handsome doctor. He's not in, part of this whole Bill Spencer Forced or whatever other family world. He's totally separate. So I was
Yep.
like, okay, cool. I like the fact that, they had Tanner Novlin as, Finn for her. And boy, was that short lived.
I know. It's so disappointing.
It sucked. And then, like I say, when you know, Liam is sitting up there looking at the back, like you say, the flashbacks of their weddings and the times that they had that was really romantic and stuff like that. I'm like, writers,
Mhm.
we had 12 years of that.
Can you believe that long?
Yeah, I think it originally started in 2008, if I'm not, and this is 2022. So you're talking almost 14 years of this back and forth and this triangle with
That is
hope.
crazy to think it's been that long, Letitia. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
We used to, Keisha and I used to talk about that all the time. She actually messaged me. She's doing really well down in Afghanistan. But
Oh, thank goodness.
she gets the episodes like, we get them, of course, in real time. I think she's behind. But she
Uh-huh.
messaged me, and when she found out about this whole thing that, Steffi's in the hospital, Finn is gone, she was like, oh my God, I hope they're not trying to start this triangle all over again.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Oh,
when she gets back,
yeah.
gosh, who knows what will be in the storyline by then? She'll have so much to talk about.
Oh my God. I'm like, I knew I said, and then he says, I will always love you. And I'm like, oh no.
Mhm.
Here we go again.
Here
And I
we
mean, we
go
already
again.
have the Brooke and Ridge and Taylor triangle. So now you're going to start the whole, because remember, one thing about Liam is that he loved to be a savior.
Yes.
So with her in this situation, he of course has a daughter with her. All his attention and his mental thoughts are going to be wrapped around Steffi, which Hope is going to definitely feel some kind of way about that.
I agree. And the preview already has Brooke showing up.
Yeah. So, ah, it's a crazy scenario. I was not. I mean, even going back to the beginning part of this week, I, and we kind of talked about this last week. How we kind of wish that Steffi, the moment she got free from Sheila, just ran out of there.
Yes.
Her trying to take control of a psychopath is the last thing she wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
And of course, with Sheila's back turned, pulling out her silencer, of course, she shot her own son because she didn't know he was running up in there.
Mhm.
Um, at first, when now, of course, Sheila made it look like a robbery. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, You are more about your son laying there dead than you getting caught. 'Cause she took off the rings, she took the wallets and everything, so to make it look like a robbery, so she won't get caught. You just
She
left your
qualified.
son there in the alley.
Mhm.
There is no way. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, that was pretty, what's the word? It's totally heartless.
It's heartless, it's disturbing because your son is bleeding out. Steffi tried to call 911 and you stopped her from helping your own son
To
because
save
you don't
yourself.
wanna get caught.
Right.
She was more about saving herself than her own child, well, her own son, so, yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, there's a lot of accountability go around, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, like, what we said about Steffi, you shoulda got out of there, you coulda, you know, kept, Finn from even showing up there, but obviously they wanted to get rid of the character.
Right.
Um,
Ugh.
yeah, I hate that, but I was told that Tanner Novlin is in other primetime projects, so he doesn't have time for he's off to bigger and better things, so
He is, he is. I will definitely miss him.
yeah, I would too, I mean, and I think, he'll be good wherever, and that's normally what happens. They'll get their start on a soap, or some folks get a start on reality TV, and it leads into bigger things. So,
And good
kudos.
for him, but dang, we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, we want Miss Fan, but good for Tanner. Um, but what was gonna say? So the whole robbery get up. The only thing that was interesting is when Deacon came out
Mhm.
and he saw them on the ground. I didn't know if they were going to try to blame him.
I thought the same thing, but the good thing about that is that he was inside with other people
Right,
and talking to someone when he went out there with the trash to take the trash out. So
right.
he has, a solid alibi. Now, how they're going to handle it, I don't obviously we don't know yet. But where's the cameras on the streets on the outside to see who came around the corner?
Well, remember, Lieutenant Baker said today that it was no cameras back there. It looks like a robbery.
Yeah,
That things were missing, jewelry, wallets, purses, so Sheila definitely knew how to set that up, and she had a pair of gloves to do it, so she didn't wanna leave no fingerprints.
I mean, she she was literally prepared to kill Steffi.
Yeah, I mean, how do you so I'm wondering, okay, so just say Finn never showed up, right? Let's just play a different storyline. Say if Finn never showed up, right? She actually succeeded in shooting Steffi. What would I mean, they still wouldn't have let her back in the family. What was your end goal by knocking her off?
I just don't think all the cylinders are firing in there. And
Exactly.
so she, I think she's so unrealistic about her expectations of acceptance. It's just, there's no hope. And obviously now there's no hope. She literally murdered her son
Yeah,
in
yeah.
cold blood and left him there to die.
Yeah, she did. Oh my god, and when that comes out, she need to be in well, let me think. What country has a no extradition treaty?
Oh,
Oh, no.
right.
I
I can't think
mean,
of one because I've never had to think about it.
yeah, I mean, this thing is so huge.
Hmm.
You attempted murder and
Yep.
murder.
Right.
I mean, it would technically end her storyline.
Oh, she's done. And two, she is a paroled felon with a firearm.
Exactly.
All kinds of crimes in that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, um, but yeah,
And she was still blaming Steffi for it. If she just would have listened to me. Why couldn't you listen? Why couldn't you accept me?
and I see what the writers are doing there. I mean, because we just said it, the moment she got loose, Steffi should have ran out of there.
Hmm.
I mean, you don't tell a psychopath, I control the
No,
situation. You just don't. I
no,
mean,
you
it's
do
like
not.
coming up on a grizzly bear and say, I'm bigger and badder than you. I mean, that's not going to work.
You can't reason with a bear.
Or a great white shark. It's like, oh, yeah, I can swim faster than you and you can't catch me. Yeah, right.
No, you
I
can't.
mean, it's useless to, because I mean, when you're in a situation like that in any type of precarious way, you try to think smart to get out of it. You don't try to continue to battle it. You know what I mean?
Well, and you certainly don't put into action words that are threatening or putting the person in a further defensive position.
Especially a psychopath.
Right.
I mean, there's no empathy there. There's no with a
None.
psychopath or even sometimes a sociopath. There's zero empathy. There's no heart, no feeling, dead inside. It's about saving myself. I don't care about you. It's my, me, whatever, and protect myself. I don't care what happens to you. So for Steffi to go and try to the control the scenario and put fear into Sheila, you can't put fear into a psychopath.
No.
They're not scared of anything. you know.
No. No, they are what everyone else fears.
Exactly. And they know that. They know that there's power in fear, which is why she grabbed Steffi around her collar and shook her up against that garbage dumpster and looked into her eyes with all the diabolicalness that she could ever find. At that point, when she let Steffi go, because she was like, you know what? I'm not that same person. And she let her go. That was Steffi Q to get out of there.
Right. Run like the wind.
Run like the wind. Therefore, that would have been her opportunity to tell mom, dad, Thomas, Brooke, everybody else, because remember, she carries two secrets now. She carries the
Right.
secret of the whole drunken night that Brooke had and the alcohol, and she carries
Yeah.
the secret that she shot her son.
Right.
So she could have got out of there with those two secrets and blew her away.
Yes.
But she rather, she tried to look like the person in control. And it's so unfortunate that the way that they wrote it, one person ended up dead and the other one is fighting for her life. Sucks.
Right. It does suck.
But
It
what do you
does.
think about Lee, Sheila, and Taylor?
So I like that Lee just shut her down. But now I'm afraid for Lee.
Oh, exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, are you guys crazy?
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. I mean,
definitely crazy.
I mean, Lee has to know what she's capable of. And she's like a ravenous dog, like, you're not going anywhere near my son. That's my son. You never had a son and all of this. And I'm like, you don't want to go there, Lee. You don't want to go there.
It's like cornering a raccoon.
I know. It's like, let her lay her eyes on Finn and walk her out of there.
Right.
Take a
Just get it
cop
done.
to go with her. If you're not sure, have security go with her. Look, I'll let you see him, but security is going to go with you. I mean, what is Lee expect her to do? Steal a body or something?
Right. I think at this point it's just a matter that Lee is just still so angry about everything
Hmm.
and she's just not going to give it in.
Well, part of this is her husband's fault too.
Of course.
Your husband slept with the psychopath, got the psychopath pregnant, and lied to you about it.
Yeah. I mean, and
So
where is he?
where is he at? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if anybody you should be mad at, because I mean, granted, of course, it was an affair. Because from what I understand, it was an affair. But the primary responsible party is the married person. So
Right.
he was married to you. He went and got somebody pregnant who was psycho. So,
Right. You're lucky you didn't have a bunny and she didn't pull a Glenn Close.
yeah, exactly. But Lee's hard line in the sand, I'm like, girl, no, you don't want to do that. You don't
No,
wanna do-
no. I mean, wait till you find out she actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing, because I know a lot of there was quite a few fans that was like, yeah, Lee, you don't let that psychopath anywhere near, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not. It's one thing for her to say, you know what, Sheila, I understand you want to see him, but I don't know if this is the right time or if this is something we should do. She came at Sheila with fury. It's how you deliver the message.
Yeah,
I mean, if she kind of like, and some people like, no, you're dealing with somebody crazy. You got to do this, that, and the third. Well, look what happened with Steffi. So
right,
I don't think
right.
that's a good. And look what happened with Brooke. Brooke was
Right.
also, I mean, Brooke was like, you're never going to get near my family and you're never get near Finn. And boom. I mean, at what point they're going to leave Sheila? I mean, she needs to be in jail. She did wrong things, horrible things. But you got to be smart about who you're dealing with.
That's true. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. It, you look at it from a point of view of being the protective mother, but he's gone. What are
Yeah,
you protecting now?
exactly. It's not like I say, what did Lee expect her to do? Steal the body or what? She just want to see him. Now, of course, they don't know that she was the perpetrator. We
Right.
do, right? But even at this point, just say if it wasn't her fault, why can't she see this man? You
Yeah,
know,
I think it's just Lee just wants to control something at this point. She's completely out of control, and that's the one thing she can control.
and did you see Sheila's face? I'm like, oh,
That
don't,
was venom, wasn't it?
and Taylor was looking at her like I kind of because see one thing Taylor knows is how to deal with the situation, which is why she did what she did at Christmas.
Right.
She's like, you know what? We're better in control if we actually handle the situation in a way and watch her. Let her move, but we can watch her better if we do it this way. But people
Yeah.
like Steffi and Lee is like, no, it's my way or the highway, and even Brooke, and
Mhm.
so like you just said earlier, Lee might want to watch her back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like where they're leading this.
No.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, at the funeral service for him. Whatever they do, what they decide to do.
Now
Sheila shows up.
I did see an article that Tanner Novlin posted on one of these things saying that even though my character is over, be prepared for some shocking twists in this. So, and he said both he and Jacqueline McInnes Woods were shocked to see what's coming down the line with this same storyline. So I'm like, okay, you piqued my interest. I'm looking forward to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what are the shocking twists they're going to, you know. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Yeah, even they said Brad Bell teases unexpected twist is in the works for Bold and the Beautiful.
Huh.
Yep, and you know who Brad Bell is, so
That'll be very interesting to see what's next.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. It gave
Me
us a
too.
break. You know what? It actually gave us a little bit of a break from the whole Brooke and Ridge and the booze thing.
True. Absolutely, it did, and it didn't have the usual, um, you know, romantic tryst that shouldn't have happened and all of that. It
Right.
was, the couple's in love, they're happy, they have their family, and now they're ripped apart.
Right. Exactly. So And then we haven't seen Paris, Carter, and Grayson in a couple weeks or so. So that kind of gave us a break from that too.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah. So obviously, of course, Jacqueline, I don't know if she had a baby yet, but I think she's due this month.
I think
So
so. I saw a picture on Instagram. She looks amazing.
yeah, I mean, but she's ready to pop.
She does.
Yeah, so I don't know what she's having. I know she got the 2 boys. I hope she have a little girl this time because I think that's maybe what her and her husband is trying to strive for.
Oh
So
yeah.
so hopefully they get their girl this time. I know Jacqueline would love to have a little daughter, you know.
Well, whether it's a boy or a girl, you know it's gonna be a beautiful baby.
Yeah, that is true. Her husband is very attractive too.
Yeah, they're a beautiful couple.
Yes, they are. But yeah, so obviously they had to have because I didn't know whether they were going to work in. Remember when Finn and her slept together?
Hmm.
I thought that they were going to work in a storyline where it include her being pregnant again.
Right. Yes.
But and maybe they might still. Maybe she is pregnant and don't know it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe so.
maybe that's the shocking twist. I don't know, but that would be interesting because it's like at first I was like, okay, maybe they're working in her pregnancy into the storyline and therefore and then sure enough she ended up getting shot and I'm like, well, there goes that idea out the window.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
but my thing is with the maternity leave, are they going to just keep her in bed for weeks?
Right.
Or
I don't
are they going to
know.
send her off somewhere for a fancy treatment or something?
Yeah, and I mean, if they do that, is she gonna wake up before she goes, or is she gonna go off in a coma and just then come back?
Oh, that's a good point, Trish. Maybe she does wake up, her memory is gone,
Maybe so.
and they send her to maybe some neurologist, a special doctor or hospital or something that takes her off screen until she comes back from maternity leave.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, selfishly, I was like, oh man, she's leaving for a while. Come
Yeah, I
back.
know. But here's my thing though, you've had such a dramatic thing with this.
Uh huh.
Sheila's not going I mean, Kimberlyn Brown is still on contract, so she's still gonna be around for a while, which tells me that this secret is gonna stay locked for a
Yes.
minute. So we still have her in town. We'll have to get back to probably the whole Carter thing,
Hmm.
and then Brooke trying to figure out with Sheila still being around town, Brooke trying to figure out why she got drunk. You know what I mean? So
Right.
there'll be storylines that'll be on tap while Jacqueline is out. So
And so far nobody knows it's Sheila. So what if like Brooke and everybody start to feel sorry for her, and then she's allowed in Hayes' life,
yeah, I
and
don't know though.
this is, I mean, this could go a lot of different ways with her.
The only reason that I'm not sure about that is because only person that really feels an ounce of sympathy right now is Taylor. I
Yeah.
mean, we've already saw today where Thomas confronts her about this whole thing because
Yeah.
he's still pissed off, saying, "I still got this secret that I haven't told nobody yet." So you got him, and I'm like, "Are you stupid or are you stupid?" I mean,
Right.
seriously, these people love to confront the psychopath. And I'm like, Thomas, you need to refigure how you're going to do this. You don't poke the bear letting them know that you're about to spill the beans. That's what happened to your sister.
Exactly. Stop telling your secret, what you're going to do.
Yeah, pull a Ashland lock. You know what? I got to work on this myself.
I got to think through it. Yeah. I've got to kind of marinate on it.
Exactly. But I don't know. These people tend to think that they can scare the crap out of Sheila, and it's like
She has no fear.
she has no fear. I mean,
She has
if
nothing to lose now.
because
She's lost everything.
here's what he's doing. He's threatening her with that information, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say she won't bop him upside the head?
Exactly.
And then they'd be like, "Man, what happened to Thomas?"
Right, right. How come we can't keep anyone in our family safe?
Exactly, so going back to your original statement about maybe they having sympathy for Sheila, not even in this moment. Ridge has zero interest.
Yeah, he hadn't even looked at her.
I mean, even when they were going, because he was like, "What's going on?" When they were going back and forth about seeing Finn, and he just didn't give her the time of day. So I don't know. I don't see any open door unless Taylor says to everybody, "Look, I understand you hate Sheila, but she still had a connection with her son. We got to be mindful. She lost somebody too." She would have to
Yeah,
be the catalyst to soften everybody up. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
she would. And you know the ironic thing is that she's the one who Sheila shot
Mhm.
and missed a whole chunk of her life and her kids' lives. She's the one now, hugging Sheila.
Exactly. Exactly. You know. So it's been an interesting week, girl. I mean,
It has.
oh my God. I was looking forward to both shows this
Me too.
entire week. Yes, I was. So we'll have to see. I'm hoping that they do not try to reignite this whole thing with Liam and Steffi when she gets back.
Yeah,
Um Stop poking the bear with Sheila. Just work your magic behind the scenes and get her exposed.
exactly.
Don't tell the criminal what that you're about to expose them. What do you think they're gonna do? I mean, seriously. So I think we covered everything, right?
I think we did. It
Yeah,
was a lot to unpack.
it was, and we only had one big giant storyline on The Bold and Beautiful, so it was pretty seamless the way we went through it. So
It was. I thought it was really well done. I just wish it was an hour.
yeah, I know, right? I was saying the same thing this week. How come this show can't be an hour?
Come on, man. We
I
don't
know,
pull out
right?
here.
All right, so let's do our flip the script segment. So what that is, you guys, if there's a particular storyline or a scene that we wish we could change, this is where we flip the script. So what's your flip for this week's Y&R and Bold and the Beautiful?
So I was really hoping,
Hmm.
I would love to have seen Sally walk in on Ashland and catch him
Oh,
red-handed
okay.
and say, "What do you think you're doing in here?" And have like some kind of altercation come down and have Adam and Victoria come in and see it all in the midst of everything. And I would have liked to have seen some kind of confrontation.
Yeah, the only thing is that he's another psychopath. So I was actually afraid for her. I was so glad to see Adam show up because I didn't know
Yeah,
what he was going to do. I mean, look what he tried to do to Michael.
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, but you wanted her to walk in. Okay.
What about you?
What you got for bold first?
Oh, okay. So on the Bold and the Beautiful, I mean, obviously, I wish that they would have kept Finn alive.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I really did not want to see him die. I really wanted him to stick around. I wanted him to be the one to pull through and to have like the memory issues, and
Mhm.
Steffi's still in a coma, so no one knows what's going on. And I would have loved for him to have been like outside on the cliff and start having flashbacks and have Sheila come up behind him and have him turn around and see her face and then have it hit him that
Okay.
he's the one who shot him, and
Mhm.
then approach her and then have him just kind of accidentally shove her right off the cliff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you got a
I
you
got
got
the
a
whole
whole
thing already written out.
yeah,
I
you
had
got
her
a
going
whole
off the cliff since she came back.
yeah, you got a whole narrative going on over there. Yeah. Okay. So for me, for Y and R, when they dropped that bombshell on having Adam be the bait and Victoria throwing him up under the bus.
Uh-huh.
I would have hoped that Adam would have said, "Nope, I don't want no parts of it. I'm out." Because they
Yeah,
can't do anything without him.
true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
because they can't frame Nick for it. They can't frame. They maybe can frame Victor for it, but she's not gonna do that to her father.
Mhm.
But if I was Adam, I'd be like, nope. First of all, it was bad enough that you started the plan without telling me that you were using me first. And second of all, you just gonna throw me under the bus? No, I'm not doing it. Find somebody
Yeah.
else. And then on the Bold and the Beautiful, when Sheila and Lee was going back and forth, I would have wanted Taylor to kind of ease the situation because Taylor knows what this is when it comes to Sheila
Yeah.
and say, Lee, and pull her to the side. Listen, you know what she's about. She can be really volatile. We don't want to stir anything in her that's already, some type of conversation that she could have had to kind of get Lee to calm down.
Yeah.
That's what I would have hoped for. So, yeah, and when she tried to get Lee to calm down and she wasn't hearing, I'm like, okay, writers, that's it. You know,
Whew. Setting the stage for something eerie.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm looking forward to next week, the week of the 11th. We'll see what these twists and turns are and what's going to happen with this whole thing with Diane and with Ashland Locke. So,
Yeah, it's exciting.
very, very much so. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much again for tuning in this week of CBS Soap Dish Recap. We look forward to chatting with you guys again next week. We hope you enjoyed the show. And until then, have a great week. Bye.